Yes, good people, welcome back to the channel. So this morning we're back in the sweatshop. We're making a start on this Partscaster build. Now I've been going through all my parts, I've been reading your comments, and I've sort of been deciding for the last day or two what to do with this. Where we're currently at is we've got a late 90s strap body, full thickness. We've got a taut pick guard. Now I did ask your opinion on two different types of necks, a telly one and a strap one, and I've decided to go for the strap one that I used on the original Robster, purely because rosewood fingerboard, which I dig, and I quite like the large headstock, and I thought it'd be quite apt to use this on this build anyway, just to keep the original Robster going. So that's the neck I'm going to go with. I've decided to go for a HS setup. So what I'm going to do is put a Epiphone Les Paul pickup in the bridge position, which we're going to need to trim out. I've got a dummy pickup that I'm going to put in the middle position, so it'll just be there just for aesthetics. And then we've got this, I believe it's a early 90s Fender Mustang Japanese pickup. I think the rating on this was about 6.8k. The Humbucker is about 15k, so that is super hot. I did want to put a P90 in here, but in terms of cutting away on this pick guard, you don't get a lot of meat left, and it would have involved trimming a bit more out on the actual guitar body. So I'm quite happy with two working pickups, bridge, neck. That's pretty much all I use anyway. And then we've got the choice of both together, so you've got three different sounds there. I'm going to go with a single volume pot, single tone pot, and then a Freeway Selector switch, which I'm probably going to put where the blade normally goes. I'll probably drill a hole right in the middle. I was going to go with these CTS pots that I had, but I actually haven't got any nuts and washers to fit the shaft on it. They're actually quite girthy. I've got these 500k full-size pots that are off an Epiphone Les Paul Deluxe, I believe. They should be good enough anyway. We'll strip all them back, get rid of all that wiring, clean them all up. I've also, off that same guitar, I've got a Freeway Selector switch. That's an Epiphone one. Again, we'll sort all the wiring out on that. I've got a black output jack cover, which is going to go on. That'll look pretty darn good. I've got a orange drop capacitor. So that's pretty much all the electrics sorted. I've got a black cover to go on the back of the guitar. I've got a Squier neck plate with fixing screws. I'm going to go with these Epiphone Witchat knobs, black ones, which look pretty darn sweet. I've got some Warwick strap locks, which are going to go on as well. Got the whole set there, so we'll stick that on. For tuners, I've got these new Squier Affinity Deluxe tuners, which are like the standard generic Chinese ones, but they've got the vintage style split shaft, which I really wanted to put in. Now the only trouble I was having with the headstock on these, the holes that are required for the new tuners I want to put in are 10mm. The ones that were in there were 8mm. So I've made a start. I've got a 10mm wood drill bit, open that up a bit, and then on the back, because these ones were screwed in, the original ones, and the new ones have them two lugs. Don't know if you can see that. So you need to compensate for that. So what I did was put the tuner in, lined it all up straight, and then I put the nut and the washer on, and I just tightened it up a little bit just so it marked the back where the holes would be as a guide. You know, just make sure you get this perfectly straight. And then I went in with a, I think it was a 2.5mm drill bit. So that now goes straight in. So once I've drilled all 6 of them holes, I'm going to paint this headstock black, take all the hardware off, mask it all up. I've got some black satin paint, and then I'm going to hit it with a bit of clear coat. I don't really need to primer it because I've already painted it red. This ain't going to look perfect. The guitar is a bit beat up, so this is a bit of a relic project. So I'm just going to scuff the finish, paint it black, clear coat it, and I may rub this little bit back so the old Robster decal can cut through. So you may see a bit of red on it, but with the pick guard, the taut pick guard, I think it looked pretty dope. So while we're getting high on paint fumes and waiting for the paint to dry, I'm cracking on with a humbucker. So I'm going to keep it in the straight position. I was contemplating doing it that way at an angle, but you're losing the pole pieces are nowhere near the string. So we're going to go for the conventional HSS setup. So I put some masking tape round just to get a nice line. Now the hole there lines up perfectly. This hole goes at an angle, so we should just clip that bottom, come across, up, over, and then we need to drill a hole there. But for a guide, I can pop that little lug into the hole. It sort of locks in place, and then we can work out the rest from there. So I'm going to draw this as a template and then flip the pickup over and just get the round bits on the corners, which should line up pretty damn good. I'm going to get my Dremel out and I'm going to get the disc on it and then start cutting through that. If you're asking why I'm using the Dremel and not a proper tool, not everybody is rich and famous like yourself. So what I like to do is use stuff that, you know, people with not a lot of money on a small budget, or, you know, have no use for expensive power tools, can modify a guitar. So I've got this little metal blade. I'm going to trim around, trim, and then a little sanding wheel on the Dremel to neaten things up. And she fits in like a glove. And we just got to drill another hole to screw the pickup in. So we're getting to the business end of the build now. I've been putting this pickguard together. The old pots have been taking off all the old wiring and cleaning up all the connectors. She's looking pretty good. We've got the humbucker in, we've got the middle pickup in, which won't be used, the neck pickup, the cover that I used for it is a Strat one. This is obviously a Mustang pickup. I had to make the holes a little bigger in the cover to get it to fit. I've put the hole in for the bridge pickup. I had to trim these screws down a little bit. I shaved them off with the Dremel, just took about ½ a centimetre off. Put the Freeway Selector switch on. It's gold, unfortunately, it's the only one I got, but I've put it in where the 5-way blade switch is, so that's all good to go. So I did a crude wiring diagram. Neck, bridge pickups, you've got the ground going to the volume pot, hot going to the Freeway switch, hot for the bridge going to the Freeway switch on the other side. Then we got I'm confused myself now, a hot that goes from the middle to the tone pot, and then the ground goes onto the tone pot, and yeah, it gets a bit confusing. We're gonna have the orange drop cap and then off to the output jack. I know what I mean, you know, quite hard to explain at times. So we've got an orange drop cap that we're going to put on. So yeah, I've got to wire this all together, find some other wiring to join it all up, and I think we're pretty much good in terms of the pickguard, but I think that's looking pretty decent. Yeah, a true Partscaster. Right, I'm going to get stuck in. I ain't going to do a part by part tutorial on this bridge pickup. You've got, from what I believe, the red and white joined together out the way. That's for cool splitting, which we ain't using. The black's the hot. The green and the braided is the ground, which will be probably grounded on the back of the Freeway Selector switch. You can ground them to the pots. I also need a ground that goes from the tremolo to one of the pots, and we'll also ground these together. She may not look pretty, but she does the job. Alright, so I reckon, what time are we? Yeah, I'm going to go and pick my kids up, then I'll come back and then I'll screw that down and then solder in the output jack. Boom shaka. Time to wire in the output jack. Now on an output jack you've got that sleeve in the middle, that part, that's the ground, and then the tip, which is the M1 there, and after that I've got to put a ground from the claw to the back of one of the pots. see if I can find some black screws, because actually looks pretty good. Being black, it's nice and discreet. Yeah. So now we've exposed the logo, got rid of that fresh new look, makes it look a little bit more worn now to match the guitar, so I think that looks pretty cool. Before I go and have some dinner, I'm gonna size the neck up. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty darn good. Yep, let's get this neck unsoldered. Now there is a bit of a gap in the neck there, so I may need to fill the holes in on that neck and then re-drill them so I can move the neck down a bit. But time for dinner, and I'm probably going to leave this for tonight, so I'll come back tomorrow with a clear head. Okay, so after a bit of food in my belly, I had time to reflect on it, and I think with this little gap around the neck hill, from memory it probably did have a 22 fret neck, which could explain that. Not sure, but measuring it out, it does measure 25.5 inches where it should be, sort of thing. So what I'll probably do is stick some strings on, see how it intonates. If we need to move the neck down a bit, then we'll sort it out, but I think I've had enough today. So what I'm going to do is do this as a two-part series. In the second part, we'll get some strings on, we'll test it all out, see how it sets up and plays and that kind of thing, and then if we need to adjust the neck, we'll sort that out then. In terms of the build so far, I think it's coming along well. This is going to be used a lot by myself, so yeah, I think the headstock looks pretty darn cool with the original Robster decal cutting through there, and I think it's a good colour combination. So far I like the look of this setup, and hopefully these pickups do sound pretty good. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe to catch the second part of this build. Follow me on Instagram, Guitar Manifesto, and also on Facebook. Yeah, thanks for watching, see you all soon, peace.